All right, Baruchim Abba, and welcome to the Yitzchok Dov Rottenstein Tuesday night Shiur in Mesechta Megilah. We are on Daf Dalid Amid Aleph. Here it is. Here is Daf Dalid Amid Aleph.
Daf Dalid Amid Aleph, huh? Okay.
Right. You don't see this yet, right?
No, not yet.
No.
Not yet.
No, Harry has his own Gemorah.
You will in a minute. Here we go.
What'd you say?
No, you have your own Gemorah.
Yes,
Wait
I have my own
there
Gemorah.
to open up.
Here it is right now. Here's Dalid Amid Aleph. Okay, here we go.
Okay, we got it.
Here we
Okay, I
go.
have it.
Here's Dalid Amid Aleph, Rabbi Say.
Right.
And
Yeah,
we're
go
on the
ahead.
bottom of the daf by the two dots, 4 lines from the bottom, based on the words in the Mishnah. We said at the beginning of the Mesechta that there are a number of days in which you can make Purim, right? So you can make Purim on the 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th, 5 days. So how do you get 5 days? So because the real days it's supposed to be read are on the 14th in the regular cities and on the 15th in walled cities. So where do you get 11, 12, 13? Ella, and that's the line from the Mishnah that we're looking at right now. Ella sha'akvarim makdimin liyom haknisa. The kvarim, the villages, they read it earlier at the day of the Knisa. And the day of the Knisa was either a Monday or a Thursday. So that if, let's say, the 14th was on Friday, so then the regular people would read it on Friday, and so would the walled cities, because they can't read it on
Shabbos.
But on Thursday, the Kfarim, the villages, they would read it on Wednesday. That would be the 13th. The same thing if it would be on Tuesday, and Tuesday, the regular cities would read it. And then on Wednesday, the walled cities would read it. But on Monday, the villages would read it. Always the Monday or the Thursday before. If Purim was on Sunday, and the walled cities would read it, therefore, on Monday, and the villages would read it on Thursday before the Yom HaKnesset. That would make it the 11th. And so it would go all the time. Now the Gemara is going to take up the issue. Why is it that there was such a din made that people would be able to read the Megillah, not on the day that the Megillah said it should be read, but on another day that Chazal permitted them to read? Says the Mishnah, Ela shehakvarim makdimin, the villages, they came early and read it, liyom haknisa, on the day when they came into town for one reason or another. As we're going to see, it's in order to, Monday and Thursday were market days, and
Right.
people would come and they would hear the Megillah and so on. Zok the Gemara. So the Gemara says like this, 3 lines from the bottom. Amar Rabbi Chanina says, Chachamim hekilu ala kfarim. The Chachamim made it light, lenient on the villages, lihios makdim and liyom haknisa, to make it that they were able to read it earlier on the day when they came into town in order to do market days. And what was the reason why they made it easy for them? Says the Gemara, Kedei, in order sheyisafku mayimu mazon, that they should provide water and food la'achayim shebekrachim, for their brothers in the cities where they didn't grow too much produce. Produce is grown outside in the villages, and the villages would have to provide food for the Jews who lived in the big cities, and they would have a tough time coming to the big cities, going to shul to have a minyan, to hear the laning of the Megillah, and to be able to provide food. So Chazal made it easier for them to read it a day before and to come in on the day of Purim when the rest of the people would be reading the Megillah, and they would have the Seudah that day, and they would need to have things to send Shalach Manas, and they would need to provide food for the Seudah. And so is Kadeshi Yisafku, Mayu Mazon Lachayim Shebekrochim, so they could provide water and sustenance for their brethren that lived in the big villages. Okay, there are two ways of looking at this. One is that they could come in on Purim, provided for them, right? And they wouldn't be able to read the Megillah and do it at the same time. Another is that when they came in for the market days, right? And they would read the Megillah on the market days, on that day, they would be able to come in and bring the food and drink for their brothers in the cities. And they wouldn't have to come a second time to make it easier for them to provide food for their brethren in the villages. That's the end of Daf Daled Amud Aleph. And now we go to Daled Amud Beis. And the Gemara picks up the discussion at this point. And the Gemara says, okay, what you're telling me is Lememra, this seems to say or imply the Takanta de Krachim Havi, that it was for the benefit of a takana, it was a takana for the benefit of the villages. The takanta de Krachim Havi, and the Rashi picks it up when it says, remember the takanta de Krachim, let's look at the Rashi, Haya, Kedei Sheyisafku, in order that they should provide for the people in the villages, mashma, which it means, Kedei Sheyiyu Pinuyim Liyom Asimcha, so they would be free on the day of Simcha. And the way a number of ways of reading this too. Either the villagers would be free on the day of the Simcha, or because the outlying farms came in to provide for the Seudah on the Monday or Thursday before, the people in the cities wouldn't have to shop on Purim, but rather they could shop on the day before. Anyway, remember, it seems to imply the Takanta de Krachim Havi. It seems to be a corrective measure to help the cities, the Krachim, the cities. Ask the Gemara, wait a minute, if it's Takanta de Krachim, if the whole purpose is for the benefit of the cities, but didn't we learn in the Mishnah, Chol lihiyos b'sheni. Let's say Purim would come on Monday.
You can now.
All right. Kfarim, the villagers, the ayoros gedolos, and people in big cities, korin bo bayom. The cities would read it on Monday, and the villages of outlying, who normally are allowed to read it earlier, they can't go back to the Thursday before, they would read it on Monday. Now, the Gemara comes with this question. Isa, and if you're telling me that the reason is for the benefit of the Krachim, why not Lichtemul Yom Aknisa? Why didn't they come in on Thursday? Wait a minute. If the Purim falls on Monday, and Monday is the day of market, and the villagers come in on Monday, and the people in the city are going to have to go shopping on Monday and prepare for the Seudah on Monday from the food that they bring in from the villages and provide for the Shalach Manas, they're going to have a busy day and they're not going to be able to enjoy the day as much. Neither will the villagers be able to enjoy the day as much because they're busy making their panosa, and the people in the big cities aren't going to enjoy it as much because they're busy preparing in order to make this. Can you imagine today if Oh Nuts wasn't open except Purim morning? You understand? Everybody had to make the shalom. No stores. Miller's would close. Oh Nuts would close. The Kylo store would close. Bingo would be closed. They open up in the morning, so everybody can buy. You have any idea what kind of meal? Is everybody going to be able to get, when are you going to bring shalach manas? What's going to happen, right? So if the case that you want to help them, why don't you go back to Thursday before? Why not let the villagers read the Thursday before? That's the kasha in the Gemara, right? Answers the Gemara, no, you can't do it that way because to go back to Monday, let's figure out to go back to Thursday. If Monday is 14, right? When's 13? Sunday. When's 12?
Shabbos.
When's 11?
Friday.
Friday. You're telling them to come in on Thursday, but wait a minute. The Mishnah at the beginning of
11th.
said it starts at the 11th. So now the Gemara answers, no, that can't be, because Havalahu Asara, because that would be the day 10. The Asara lo takinu Rabbanan. And the Rabbanan didn't allow for the 10th day. They didn't allow it for that reason. Okay. They wouldn't allow it for that reason. The Gemara now is going to go to the next step. Okay. Toshma, come in here. Chol lihiyos b'chamishi. Let's say Purim falls on Thursday. It does fall sometimes on Thursday. Kfarim v'ayaros gedolos, the villagers who provide the food, and the big cities, Korin bo bayom. They read it on Thursday. Now wait a minute. Didn't you tell me that the Kfarim, so that they can come in earlier? And you can't answer the same answer over here as you did when it falls on Monday, that they can't go back to Thursday because it's the 10th. But why not here? The Im Isa, and if the reason is, as you said, that the Rabbanu were metakin, a takana for the benefit of the Kfarim, Kadeshi Yisafku Mayim Mozon, Lachayim, Shebekrachim, so that they can provide food for the people in the big cities. Likdemu liyom haknisa. Why not go back to Monday? If Purim's on Thursday, then you just told me if Purim is on Thursday, then the villagers and the big cities read it on the same day, Thursday. Why not have the villagers come in on Monday, the Achad Asaru, right? Because it's the 11th, and you can't tell me it's before the 11th, because the 11th is good, based on the Mishnah. Answer the Gemara an interesting teretz. The Gemara said, nope. Miyom HaKnisa, liyom HaKnisa, lo dechinan. We don't push it from one Yom HaKnisa to the other. We just don't do that. The truth is, you could have given this answer before also, because if you're going to go from Monday back to Thursday, you could have said you don't push it to the Yom HaKnisa, the Yom HaKnisa, but the Gemara didn't give that answer. It gave a better answer. It gave an answer because it's not the 11th, it's the 10th. Okay, it could have given that answer. Next, Toshma, another try. Amar Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda comes along and he says, Amosai. What does Amosai mean? When, right? Amosai. When do we say that we give them the opportunity to come in earlier? B'makom shenichnasin b'sheni uvachamishi, in a place where they come in on Monday and Thursday. Aval makom she'ein nichnasin b'sheni uvachamishi. Let's say there was no tradition to have a market day on Monday or on Thursday. Ein korin osa ela bizmana. We have a statement by Rabbi Yehuda, brought down before, and the base brought down later on, who holds that it's only applicable when there is a Yom HaKnisa. But if there is no Yom HaKnisa, then everybody reads it on the same day, Bismana. And now comes the Gemara's Kasha, the Isal Kedaitach. And if it enters your mind, as we mentioned at the beginning of the Shiur, Takanta de Krochim, that it's a corrective measure to help out the Krochim, to help out the big cities, so they want to go wild with shopping and not having everything prepared. Question is, Mishum de ein nichnasim b'sheni v'chamishi, just because there's no tradition of having market days on Mondays and Thursdays, mafsedi lehu l'krochim. Pasha. Wait, you're going to make it impossible now for the people in the big villages, in the big cities, not the villages, in the big cities. You're making it impossible for them. The only time they can get everything is when they come in on Mondays and Thursdays. But if you're not going to push it back a little bit, and everybody, according to the statement of Rabbi Yehuda, when they don't have a tradition to come Mondays and Thursdays, right, then everybody reads it on the same day. But if the point was to help the people in the big cities, why not make that takana for them? Why take it away? They should have that takana too, to be able to celebrate Purim. So Gemara said, you're right. That's a good kasha. I have to give a different answer, because the answer I gave is not going to suffice. It's not going to suffice with that kind of logic. But the answer is this. Lo tema kedei sheyisafku mayim hamazon. Don't say, like we said in the beginning. Here, let's go back. Don't say like it says over here, kedei sheyisafku mayim hamazon la'achayim shebekofim. Don't say it's in order that they provide, because otherwise they should have to provide, like Rabbi Yehuda said they don't have to provide, and they should have to provide even according to Rabbi Yehuda. So therefore, the Gemara says, lo tema, don't say it like we said till now, kedei sheyisafku mayim hamazon, that it's because they give the food and the drink, ela ema, but say it better, mipnei shemisafkin mayim hamazon la'achayim shebekofim. No, it's not so that they would do that. It's only done that way as a reward because that's what they do. Because that's what they do, therefore they get that reward. And the Rashi here explains, Ela ema mipnei, the second line from the top, Ela mipnei shemisafkin, scharhu lahem. This is a reward for them, bishvil shehein misafkin, because they provide the goodies for the people in the big cities. Ilkach hecha de ein nichnasin, since in a place they don't come in on Mondays and Thursdays to provide for the people in the big cities. What? Ilkach hecha de ein nichnasin, where they don't come in to the big cities on market days, lo kula hu ligabayhu. They did not make things easier for them. You want that kula? Make it easier for the people in the big cities. Most of the people live in the big cities. Make it easier for them. The ein kan schar, and therefore there is no reward. And therefore, Rabbi Yehuda is correct when he says that when he comes along and he says, Emasai, when do we allow it to be read earlier? But and if you want to tell me, Yosef, for the benefit of the cities, just because everybody doesn't come in on Mondays and Thursdays, the city should lose out. And so, you're right, it's not so that, but rather not kedei, but because that's what they do. Because since they do, the Monday and Thursday crowd, since they do that, since the Monday and Thursday crowd comes in on Mondays and Thursdays and does their brethren in the big cities the favor, oh, you're going to be nice to your neighbors. You're going to help out the city folk. It's not going to be a war between the Hatfields and the McCoys because these guys live in the cities and that one lives in the villages. It's not going to be a civil war because this one lives on the green line, the other one lives on the other side. No, you're kind, you're good, you get along, you're wonderful people. Great. Therefore, machnisin liyom ha-knisa. Therefore, we give them that benefit. What a people, right? Chazal sees that one person helps another, and a group of people out in the villages go out of their way to provide for their brethren, so that they think to themselves, why do I have to bother? If Purim comes on Monday, I don't have to bother. I'll go in Monday. I have to make it special to bring the stuff 3 days earlier. Leave it Monday. Let them knock their heads against the wall. No, they don't do that. What? All those people in the big city. Oh, I'm going to do them a favor. I'm going to bring everything in earlier. Oh, you're going to be a nice fella. You're going to be a benadam chaverenik. I'm going to give you back. And therefore, they made it easier for them. No, that's Purim, people. That's what we're supposed to get out of Purim. All right. Next, by the way, anyone who doesn't believe that helping other people is worthwhile, Mordechai, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor.
Yeah.
I want you to send out that video that you sent me from the Arab in Kentucky.
Now, the one I sent today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we get it posted up here?
Oh, let me see. I don't know. Let me see. How can I do that?
I would show it to you right here, but not in the middle of Shiur. But Mordechai could send it out. Anybody who wants it.
The 50 years of gratitude?
The what?
The 50 years of gratitude? Which one?
Yeah, the 50 years of gratitude. Yeah, we're from
Okay.
from gold. From gold.
Okay.
Mordechai, when did you send it out?
Today.
Okay.
We have,
I have it here.
Okay, so Mordechai, I'll tell you what. Anybody who wants, I recommend you take a look at what a nice gesture can do and bring peace among the world, not just Klal Yisrael, the world. You'll take a look at Mordechai's video. He'll send it out to you. If you send him your email address, you'll get it. Okay. If you have his
Mark, send it to me, please.
Yeah, okay.
Amazing story. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Very good. But we know anyway, this is a fact, but it's good to see it anyway. Okay, next line. Here we go. Back to the Gemara. Let's go right there. We're going to try to finish the whole Omer today. Look at this. Next, the Mishnah said, Ketzad. How does this work? How does this business with giving help to the people in the city, help the villagers, and the Mishnah goes through all the permutations. The Mishnah goes through all the permutations, how it works. So that, and I went through it at the beginning of the Shiur. If Purim comes on Sunday, then the villagers read it the Thursday before, right? So Sunday's the 14th, Shabbos the 13th, Friday's the 12th, they read it on the 11th. If Purim comes on Friday, so then they'll read it again on the 13th, which is Thursday. If Purim comes on Wednesday, they'll read it on the Monday, which is the 12th. If Purim comes on Tuesday, they'll read it a day early on the 13th. If Purim comes on Sunday, they'll go back to the 11th, and so on. That's how you get 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Okay, and now the Gemara picks up Ketzad. How does this work? Choliyos b'sheni b'Shabbos. If Purim comes out on Monday, Purim v'ayos gedolos korim bo bayom. The villages, not the villages, the villages. I'm sorry, the villages and the big cities read it on that day. We don't go back because it's read on Monday. We don't go back from Yom HaKnisa to Yom HaKnisa. But the walled cities read it the next day. Notice, by the way, I'm going to teach something here in the Gemara. I want you to notice this. This is not really part of the Gemara. It's a Gemara terminology that we should be aware of, but it doesn't have any impact on the halacha in the Gemara here whatsoever. But I want to show you something. Look at the end of this. It says, we're quoting the Mishnah where it says, Kfarim v'ayor is gadol is korim bo bayom v'chulu. V'chulu. You see that? Vav chav vav, which means v'chulu. What does v'chulu mean? What does v'chulu mean? V'chulu means and so on, and so on and so forth, right? Without quoting every word of the Mishnah, it just means v'chulu. We quote, Mordechai, send it out later, not now, because otherwise I won't pay attention to the Shiur. Here we go.
I do vote.
V'chulu. Now, did you ever notice in the Chumash, if you look at a Rashi, that Rashi quotes a pasuk, and even in the Gemara, if the Gemara quotes a pasuk, it doesn't say v'chulu. What does it say?
Vav
Gimel Vav.
Vav Gimel Vav.
What is Vav Gimel Vav? Whenever you want to quote it. The Gomer, and finish the pasuk.
Gomer,
yeah. You should know that whenever we're quoting a pasuk, you write Vav Gimel Vav. If you're quoting a Gemara, you write v'chulu. If you're quoting a Mishnah, you write v'chulu, right? Because it's a Chazal. Well, when it's a pasuk in the Torah, it says Vav Gimel Vav. Okay, that's just a piece of trivia that's good to know. Here we go. So now the Gemara asks a very interesting question. Okay. Maishna Reisha. Why is the Reisha of the Mishnah different than Nakat Sidura de Yarcha? Because the Reisha begins in the Mesechta by telling us that you read the Megillah on the 11th, the 12th, the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th. So that's dates in the month. Umayshna Sefer. And why is it when the Sefer of the Mishnah goes to explain that when the villagers are given the privilege of reading it a few days earlier, it goes back to either Monday or Thursday. How come over there, Denokat Sidura de Yomi, that it uses weekdays? Why didn't it be consistent? If Purim falls on Tuesday, which is the 14th, you go back to the 13th. Why do you ever say go back to Monday? Say go back to the 13th. If Purim falls on Sunday, go back to the 11th. If Purim falls on Wednesday, go back to the 12th. Why do you say go back to Monday, go back to Thursday? Why are you picking weekdays? You started 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Why don't you continue at 11, 12, 13, 14, 15? Oh, that's the kasha on the language in the Mishnah. Maishna Resha, the Nokat Sidura, the Yacha, Umaishna Sefer, the Nokat Sidura, the Yomi. Okay. Answers the Gemorah. ID the Mishapchi lay, since we're reversing things, we're going backwards, right? Instead of 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, we're going from 12 to 11, from 13 to 11, from 14 to 11, sorry, 14 to 11, from 14 to 12. So we're going backwards, right? So Ayli Mishapchi lay, since we're reversing it, Nakat Sidura the Yomi, therefore it uses the dates of the month rather than the week. Let's take a look at the Rashi on this, who explains Sidura the Yarcha, right? The Resha is Sidura the Yarcha, which means the order of the month. Says Rashi, Tiktani, it says in the Mishnah, B'Yud Aleph, B'Yud Beis, B'Yud Gimel, B'Yud Dalet, B'Tezvav, Yiseder Minyan HaChodesh, equal to the order of the month. Ukeshabah lefarsha, when it comes to explain it, to be poresh, to explain it, right? Make a perush, nokat seder yemei hashabbos. It doesn't use month dates, but use week days. B'shaminan, and lets us know yemei hachodesh la'achareha. And then afterwards, it only mentions the date of the month. For example, Chol Liyos Erev Shabbos, if Purim falls on Friday, Purim Magdim Liyom HaKnisa. The villagers read it earlier on the Thursday before Harei Yud Gimel. That's the 13th. So it doesn't tell us the date first, it tells us the weekday. Another example, Chol Liyos B'Shabbos, or as the Bach has a girsa, a little bit different. It says, he add the words that Kfarim Magdim and Liyom Aknisa, that the villages go back to the Thursday, right? Harei Yud Beis. That's the 12th. Of course, when it says Chol Lihos B'Shabbos, it means really, it can't fall anymore. It can't fall.
Not Travis, right?
But it's just mentioning it. Okay, good. Harei Yud Beis. Chol Lihos Achar Shabbos. If it falls out on Sunday, for Magdim Liyom Haknisa Harei Yud Aleph. That's the 11th, right? So why doesn't it go in order? Tell us always the dates, not the week and then the date. So Rashi explains. So Mishani, the answer is ID the mishapchile, since we're going to be reversing things. Nakat Sidura the Yomi, he chose the order of the days, Kalomar, al Yadei, She'im Haya Oches Yemei Ashabes, the Seder Yemei HaChodesh, because if you're going to start figuring out the weekdays according to the month days, Yeyu Nefachim Lo, you're going to get all confused. it's not so easy keeping, if it falls on Monday and then you got to go back to the day of which is Wednesday, and you get confused. Yeah. What do you mean you get confused? Why do you get confused? We're adults. We can't figure this out. Don't forget, this has got to be for kids too. Everybody's got to be able to learn it. And even as someone who doesn't have such a logical, orderly mind, the Gemorah is trying to make everything as simple as possible to be able to understand it, says Rashi. Right? Okay, Yemei HaShabbos, Lefi Seder, Yemei HaChodesh, Yiyu Nefochem Lo, you're going to get all mixed up. The Toeh Begir Soso, right? And you're going to make a mistake in the language of the Mishnah. Oh, that's another reason. Everything that we are learning in the Mishnah and the Gemara was known by heart. Can you learn the first Mishnah of Megilah by heart? Is it possible to learn the Mishnah by heart? Definitely. We could do it if we put our mind to it. But we'd have to really put our mind to it. And in order that it become easier to learn, the Mishnah always wanted to go in one direction, not to confuse. Yeah, I talk a lot. We're all subject to not knowing Shas by heart, but there are a lot of people that do, and I often wonder, how do they do it? The answer is, can I learn one Mishnah by heart? Yes, I can. Can I learn 2 Mishnayos by heart? Yeah. Can I learn 10 Mishnayos? I guess, yeah, give me enough time. I can learn 10 Mishnayos by heart. Can I learn a whole Mesechta of Mishnayos by heart? Yeah, I probably could if I put enough time into it. Can I learn 1 Amud of Gemorah by heart? Yeah, I probably could learn 1 Amud of Gemorah by heart. But if you learn 1 Amud and 1 Mishnah and 1 Perek, why can't you learn 10? You can. It's just that you got to do it over and over and over and over again until it gets in your head. So that's what they're saying over here. Okay. So therefore, you're going to get all mixed up, right? Now, Ashona, Mishnah, Levi Shayit Sarach Laz Kiran Lachorav. You're going to have to remember backwards. Achar Shabbos, going back in the week. Tahainu Yud Aleph b'Shabbos, Yud Beis, Erev Shabbos, Yud Gimel, and so on. Mitoch Kach, because of that, who ba l'dalei v'litos, because a person who's trying to remember it by heart is going to make a mistake unless he gets it clearly set out. Therefore, when it came to memorizing it this way, the Baal HaMishnah, the Mesader, put it in the weekday. The Seder Achodesh Habolo Lachorayim, and the order of the month, which happens afterwards, Eino Mazkiro Befim. He's not going to remember it. Tahare Me'elavu Nishma, that you'll be able to figure out. The Ein Kan Otos, and then there won't be any more mistakes. So this is a very interesting little Rashi over here, in which he's telling us here's a good way to help remember things. And as we know, in order to remember things, you got to really do this. Okay, let's go back to the Gemara. Finish up a little bit more Gemara. Okay. All right. All right, so this Gemara we just learned up to here. Next, the Mishnah said, Chol liyos be'erev Shabbos. Instead of saying the Gomer, it says the Chulu, because we're quoting a Mishnah. You quote a pasuk, you say the Gomer. Quoting a Mishnah or a Gemara, you say the Chulu. Okay, so Chol liyos be'erev Shabbos, and so on. If it falls on Erev Shabbos, let's get clear what happens. If it falls on Erev Shabbos, we go back to Thursday, right? What do you mean you go back to Thursday? Who goes back to Thursday? The villagers go back to Thursday, right? The villagers go back to Thursday. Okay. Now, when do the big cities read it? If it falls on Friday?
Friday.
They read it Friday. When do the walled cities read it?
Sunday.
No, Friday.
Thursday.
No,
Friday.
They read it the same day.
Right.
Even though normally they read it a day later, but when Purim falls out on Friday, the walled cities read it on Friday. All right? And that's how you have what is known as Purim Mishulash. How do you have Purim Mishulash? Purim Mishulash means 3 days of Purim. How could you have 3 days of Purim? Simple. Friday is Purim itself. So there are two things you're going to do 2 things each day. Everybody, you got to try to remember this. It's a good trivia question coming up. I'm going to give you a big trivia question in a minute. But on Friday, you're going to do 2 things. Number 1, you're going to read the Megilah because it's the 14th. What goes along with the Megilah?
Matanos Lev
100%. Okay? And the people who live in the big cities are going to also make Seudah. Because the Seudah's got to be on Friday. But the walled cities are not going to make the Seudah on Friday, because by them it's not a Yom Tov yet. It's only the day in which they're reading the Megilah. And because they're reading the Megilah, they have to give out Matanos Lev. The reason why they have to give out Matanos Lev, we're going to see later on, is because Einehem Shalaniyim Nosim Lemikra Megilah. Because the eyes of the poor people are lifted up by the reading of the Megilah. Whenever they hear that there's a Megilah being read, what a day is going to be. Everybody gives me money. I put out my hand, everybody gives me. So because they're expecting, you have to fulfill their expectation. Right? So they give him the money. So on Friday is going to be the reading of the Megilah and Matanos Lev Yonim. What are they going to do on Shabbos? Shabbos is their day. It's Purim for them. So what are they going to do?
They lane.
All right. One more thing besides laning. 2 things they got to do. What else do they do? Al-Hanisim. Right? It's their day. In the benching, they're going to say Al-Hanisim. Right? By the way, do you know, can you name one Haftorah that is read twice in a row? 2 Shabbosim in a row? I practically gave it away.
By Bishalach. No, by then.
No,
right?
Haftorah, not Maftir.
I'm told.
Haftorah. By the way, the Maftir is the same also.
Oh. Yeah.
No, but it's not 2. It's not 2 Shabbosim in a row to Maftir. 2 Shabbosim in a row to Haftorah. The Maftir the previous week is Zachar Es Asher Asel Lecha. Pasha Zachar. Yeah, the Haftorah is the same Haftorah on Pasha Zachar and on Shushan Purim from Shmuel Aleph, where Shaul is told he has to kill out Amalek, there's Zion. All right? So the Haftorah...
But you should read Haftorah?
It's Shabbos. You have to have Haftorah.
Oh, Shabbos.
Shushan Purim comes on Shabbos. So you have a Maftir of Vayovo Amalek in Bishalach, and the Haftorah is the same Haftorah as you read the week before in Parsha Zachar, right? Where it says Zachar is Asher Asolocha Amalek. So that's a trivia question. You can ask, name one Haftorah that's repeated 2 weeks in a row. Okay, it's only one. That's the only one.
Okay. But then 2 years.
And then Sunday. So now you have 2 things on Friday. Friday you had the reading of the Megilah, Matanos Lev Yonim. Shabbos you had Al Hanisim and the reading of the Torah and the Haftorah. What do you do on Sunday? 2 things.
Seudah.
And?
Shalach Manos.
Right, because Shalach Manos is the Seudah. Really, Shalach Manos should be items that you eat in the Seudah. It became a thing to send candy, but sending a challah with a bottle of wine or anything else that's normally eaten in the Seudah is really what Shalach Manos is all about. Okay, we're not going to finish all the daf. I thought I would, but we're going to go a little further. We're not going to stop here. Let's go. Here we go now. Here we go. Okay, so let's go up to the next 2 dots. Here we go. Okay. Choliyos be'erev Shabbos and so on. Masnis and Mami. Who does our Mishnah go like? And now the Gemara asks, Rebbe Yossi. It could go either like Rebbe or like Rebbe Yossi. What are we talking about? My Rebbe. What do you mean like Rebbe? The Tanya. I have a brisa. Choliyos be'erev Shabbos. If Purim falls on Erev Shabbos, Purim va'ayoros gedolos makdim liyom haknisa. Then the Erev Shabbos, the villagers and the big cities read it on Thursday. That's according to Rebbe in a brisa. Do we paskin like this?
No.
No. Okay, good. Umukaf and Choma korim bo bayom. And the walled cities read it on that day, on Friday. Even though Purim was on Friday, the regular cities and the villages read it Thursday, and the walled cities on Friday. That's according to the Tanakama. The Tanakama. Rebbe Omer, Rebbe says, and now come 2 words which are only quoted throughout Shas by one person. Only one person throughout Shas uses this expression. Omer ani. I say, lo yidchu ayoros bimkoman. That the cities, they don't get pushed away from their place. If Purim comes on Friday, they read it on Friday. Ela, elu ve'elu korin bo bayom. Both the regular cities and the walled cities read it on Friday. My timer, the Tanakama. What's the reasoning of the Tanakama? Diksiv, because it says in the pasuk b'chol shana v'shana. It's got to be the same every year. B'chol shana v'shana. That's a pasuk in Megilah. Ma kol shana v'shana ayoros kodmos limukofin. Just like every single year, the regular cities come before the walled cities. Afkan, also when Purim falls on Friday, ayoros kodmos limukofin. The cities have to be before the walled cities. Ask the Gemorah, ve'ema b'chol shana v'shana. Why don't you say, since you said b'chol shana v'shana, we should say ma kol shana v'shana ein nidachin ayoros minkoman. Just like every other year, the cities are not pushed off from their place. Afkan lo yidcha ayoros minkoman. Here also, the cities should not be moved away from their place. Answers the Gemara, shiny ocha de lo efsher. Oh, he says, we can't help it. There's no other way to make it that the regular city should be before the walled cities. The Rebbe, my timer. What's Rebbe's logic? Who said that you don't push the cities off from their place, but both the cities and the walled cities read it on the Friday, right? Because it says B'chol Shana V'Shana. Ma Kol Shana V'Shana Ein Ayoros Nidachim Koman. Just like B'chol Shana V'Shana, cities don't get pushed away from their place. Afkan Lo Yidchu Ayoros Mime Koman. So here too, the cities shouldn't get moved off from their place. Ask the Gemara, Ve'ema B'chol Shana V'Shana. Why don't you say that the word B'chol Shana V'Shana is coming to teach us Ma Kol Shana V'Shana Ayoros Kol was L'B'Kofen Afkan Nami Ayoros Kol L'B'Kofen. Why don't you say like the Tanakama, who said that the cities have to always come before the walled cities? Answer Rebbe, shiny hacha de lo efsha. So therefore, it goes like Rebbe. It could go like Rebbe, who says that this is what we do. And now the Gemara asks, my Rebbe Yossi, how can you say it goes like Rebbe Yossi? The Tanya, I'll show you another price. It says, Choliyos be'erev Shabbos, if Purim falls on Friday, mukafin ukfarim makdim and liyom haknisa. Rebbe Yossi has a shita that not only the villages go back to Thursday, but even the walled cities go back, because the walled cities don't read anyway on 14th. Why don't you go back to Thursday, right? So he's got the Kfarim anyway, we go back to Thursday, but he's got the walled cities moving back to Thursday. You got the walled cities moving back to Thursday. In other words, if it falls on Erev Shabbos, since the Mukafin can't read it on Shabbos, because it fell on Erev Shabbos, so they're moving anyway. They're going to move back to Friday. Why move back to Friday? Move it like the Kfarim, Magdim and Liyom Aknisa. Vayos Gedolos, Korid Babayom, and the big cities read it on Friday. Rabbi Yossi Omer Asatana. That's what we do. That's what the Tanakh would like us to do. We don't do that. Rabbi Yossi Omer, Rabbi Yossi says, Ein Mukafin Kodman Ayaros. Nah, you can't put the walled cities on Thursday before the big cities. Ela, like we do. Both the big cities and the walled cities read it on Friday, my time, and that, but we don't move it back. Now, in that Brisa, my time in the Tanakhama, what's the reasoning behind the Tanakhama in that Brisa that says if it falls on Erev Shabbos, that the walled cities and the villages go back to Thursday? What's his logic? Diksiv b'chol shana v'shana. It says like every single year, ma kol shana v'shana ayoros ba'arba, just like every year, the regular cities are on the 14th. Uzmano shel zeh, lo zmano shel zeh. And the time of the regular cities is not the same time as the walled cities. Afkan ayoros ba'arba, so too here also the regular cities are going to be on the 14th. Uzmano shel zeh, lo uzmano shel zeh, and the time of the regular cities is not going to be the same time as the walled cities. Yes, the Gemorah, the Ema b'chol shana v'shana. Why not say b'chol shana v'shana means the following? Ma kol shana v'shana ein mukafin kodem le'aros. Every other year, the walled cities don't come before the big cities. Afkan ein mukafin kodem le'aros. Here also, the walled cities shouldn't come before the big cities. How can you do that? How can you have the walled cities before the big cities? Well, he answers simply, Shani Hochad Lo Efsha. I have no other way to do it. I got to make it that they don't do it on the same day, so I have no other choice. I do it that way. And now my time to Rabbi Yossi. Why does Rabbi Yossi say that the walled cities and the regular cities both read it on Friday? B'chol shana v'shana. Ma kol shana v'shana ein mukafin kodem la'ayoros. Just like all year, every year, the walled cities don't come before the regular cities. Afkan ein mukafin kodem la'ayoros. Here also, the walled cities don't come before the regular cities. The Gemara asks, why don't you say it's got to be like every other year? Why don't you say every other year the Zman of the regular cities is not the same as the Zman of the walled cities? And you're telling me now, Rabbi Yossi, that on Friday, when Purim comes, Yud Dalet on Friday, both the walled cities and the regular cities read it on Friday, but that's not like B'chol Shana V'Shana. So why not? Afkan, Zman Shazeh, Lo Zman Shazeh. Why don't you go to Tanakama and say, Avzman Shazeh, Lo Zman Shazeh? Shiny Hochad Efshar. So he says, I have no choice. I have no choice. I have to do this. Okay. All right. So we'd like to go a little more to the next sugya, but it's going to take. Let's see. Do you have enough time? It's going to take a little.
Rabbi, why don't we finish it?
All right, so let's finish this sugya. Here we go. I'll finish it.
Yeah.
Here we go. Good. A few more minutes. Okay. Ask the Gemorah, "Ve'ena b'chol shana v'shana, ma kol shana v'shana zman shalzeh, lo zman shalzeh, afkan zman shalzeh, lo zman shalzeh." The walled cities and ayoros should not be the same. Shani yochad lo efsher. Says the Gemorah, the Sovar Rebbe, does Rebbe in fact hold ayoros lo dachin and liyom haknisa? Does Rebbe really hold that regular cities never get pushed back to the Monday or the Thursday for Tanya? But didn't we learn a brisa? Cholios b'Shabbos. If Purim falls on Shabbos, which today it cannot do. But at the time of the Kiddush HaChodesh, it could have happened. Kfarim Magdim Liyom HaKnisa. Then, obviously, the villages go back to Thursday. Vayoros Gedolos Korim be'erev Shabbos. And the big cities read it on Erev Shabbos. Umakavas Chamal Machar. And walled cities are going to read it the next day. If it ever happens that Purim falls on Shabbos, could it ever happen again?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
When the Beis HaMikdash was built, and we go back to
Oh, basically.
the months by the moon, it could happen.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And
We still
again,
keep Purim when the base was rebuilt? Purim's kept?
remember last week at the end of the Shiur, we learned where it said that at the end of the Megilah, Lo Yosuf Mizaro, and it says, Leman Yezamercha Kavov Lo Yidom,
All right.
Hashem Elokai Olam Odeka.
Oh, okay.
We learned based on that that's the one Yom Tov that will never be done away with.
Okay.
Consequently, it's going to be even in the Zman HaMashiach, according to that man Omar.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. All right, we're not going to be able to finish this. It's a little too long, so we're gonna go back over. I'd like to. It's a great suggestion, Pesci, but it's just going to take too much. We're not going to be able to explain it. You're not going to get it. It doesn't pay to run through and not get it. We had a little introduction. We're going to leave it at this point. We're going to go back to the kasha over here. All right. We'll go back to the last kasha that they wanted to ask a little bit back over here, and we'll pick it up Mi'etz Hashem next time. All right. So we finished a good part of the sugya today. We'll finish the whole thing next time, and next time we'll not only finish this sugya, but we'll start another sugya, which is fascinating sugya, something that comes up 3 times in Shas. I'll give you a hint. Yeah.
Yeah.
Top Tosfos. Take it. Top Tosfos. Gzeira de Rabbah. If Megilah comes on Shabbos, you can't read the Megilah on Shabbos.
Right.
Why?
Right.
Right.
That means it could happen again. So we'll get to that sugya too next time. So we're going to have 2 sugyas next time. That'll be quite interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
we're going to stop over here, and we're
So,
let me just
Mordechai, you're gonna send out the link, right?
yo, who's this?
send out
Shmuel,
Shmuel
Yeah.
back.
Shmuel,
Wait,
why
Harry,
are you so quiet?
Harry, you have his email address? I sent it to you.
Yeah,
Send it to Small, okay?
Yes,
I
will.
You got to take a look at this video. It's with Rabbi Yoel.
it's yeah.
Excellent video.
Mordechai, thank you for sending
You'll
to
give
me
your-
on
Yeah.
WhatsApp.
He'll give you a little
Shmuel,
Yeah.
do you have WhatsApp?
Gavosai, have a very good night. And
Yeah.
listen carefully. Listen carefully.
You have WhatsApp?
Mevarchim HaChodesh Nisan this Shabbos, right? It's Parshas HaChodesh.
And Rosh Chodesh is Thursday, Rabbi.
Thursday, yeah.
Yeah.
Basic Thursday. Basic
Yeah.
Thursday.
And we're going to be Mevarchim HaChodesh Nisan. And it's also Parshas HaChodesh and a double portion by Yaakov Pekudei and Chazak V'Nis Chazek. So have a wonderful Shabbos, and we'll see everybody next
Rabbi,
This is
we were going to see you. We're going to see you on Thursday for the Parsha Shiur.
8th.
It's Hashem.
All right, good.
Have a
Okay,
very good night.
Rabbi Yitzchok for everything as
Bye-bye.
usual. It was fantastic.
Thank you.